Good evening, folks. This is Andy Pedraza with Special Effects Academy. We're on the start of the week session in the Forex training room for October 10th, 2021. We are going to go through our standard agenda, a look at the prior week's results, our currency strength meter for the week, fundamental announcements on the calendar, look at the major pairs on the daily chart, setups we see in progress, and a few words in conclusion. Starting with the ledgers, we are significantly down on the long-term account from the last update, but we have a ton of trades in profit, pretty much all of them. I think there's one or two exceptions there which are flat. They're not big losers. But what's been happening is we have been taking the losers off the table and sticking with the winners. Some of these are carrying more than 200 pips of profit right now. I think one of them's at 300 weight adjusted. So we're doing quite well. We ended the week with about $800 of open profit on these trades, and the market is already opened about an hour ago today, Sunday, and I can tell you that we are clearing pretty much $1,000. So we've just moved into 4 digits of open profit. A lot of this profit is protected, so the long-term account is going to be shining pretty soon. Well, hopefully not pretty soon. I would like these trends to continue for weeks, even months, and give us just multiple double, triple digit gains all across the board. But the market will do whatever it's doing. Anyway, that's the explanation of why we're down on the long-term account, getting rid of losers, sticking with the winners. On the intermediate term account, same thing. We are down from the prior report, but we've got multiple trades at profit. We ended the week at about $300 of profit. And now that the market is opened and it's gapping across multiple pairs, we are closer to $500. And this is on a lot less open trades than we have on the long-term account. So we've got, I think, 5 trades open here, and about 3 of them are carrying the bulk of the profit. I think we've got flat trades on the 2 Swiss ones, if that, and well, that's where we're at. So again, we did take some losses on trades that were closed out, but we are sticking with the winners. On the short-term account, it's not as pretty. We are down. We've had about 4 trades in a row close out against with no respite. We do have a trade open on the USD/JPY, which closed out the week quite well, and the yen is collapsing, as we'll see in some of the next few slides. So that USD/JPY trade is probably going to be booming for us. And we have an entry on the euro dollar, a pending order for when that one turns around. And of course, the dollar is struggling as we speak. Problem is, so is the euro. But I'm betting the euro is going to have a sooner recovery than the US dollar. Notes and opportunities for improvement, more notes than anything else. We've been doing what we need to do, and the trading results are confirming our approach almost across the board. Again, the exception being the short-term account. But the notes for this prior week is that President Biden's approval ratings are at an all-time low, and they're continuing to drop. I think he's at the lowest any president has been at this early stage in his presidency, historically, since we've been keeping these metrics, these ratings. And last week's non-farm payroll on Friday, again, second month in a row, disappointed the consensus. It missed by a very, very wide margin. And I didn't point it out. I did in one of the slides further into the deck, but the Canadian labor report, on the other hand, was fantastic, phenomenal, beating all expectations. So that's what's going on with the 2 North American currencies. The dollar is now once again stressed, and I think the market is expecting some sort of Hail Mary or miracle to come out of the Biden administration. I don't see that happening. I think the dollar is in for a very, very bad ride. The Japanese yen is collapsing. No specific reason why, it simply is. And the Canadian dollar is booming. Again, great labor report on Friday out of Canada. And of course, oil prices are at a more than yearly high at this point. So that's what's propping up the Canadian dollar. Relative strength meter for the different currencies, we can see that the euro is definitely struggling, not as much as some other currencies, struggling nonetheless. It did manage to beat the yen and tied with the New Zealand. The dollar also struggling, 4 reds out of the 7, only beating the euro and the yen. The pound recovering quite nicely after a drop the week prior to this one that just ended. It's gaining against the euro, the dollar, the yen, and the New Zealand. It did not manage to do well against the CAD or the Aussie, both of these recovering, and did manage to hold on at support against the Swiss. The yen, I mentioned this before, I'll say it again, the yen is in an absolute rout. It's collapsing across the board, 7 out of 7. The yen did not even manage to tie, much less beat any other currency. The CAD, on the other hand, was a sweep. It beat every other currency out there, so it's a +7. We can only have one +7 at any given time and one -7. That's just the rules of the game. It has to be a complete sweep for it to gain a 7. The Swiss had a +4, so it didn't do as poorly as it could have. It's not doing well by any stretch, but it is holding on against the euro, the dollar, the yen. Of course, everybody's holding on against the yen and the New Zealand. The New Zealand, for whatever reason, also struggling at this point. The Aussie is at support and showing signs of recovery. It was a +6. Losing out only to the Canadian dollar. And the Kiwi, as I said, struggling. No clear reasons why other than COVID fears down in New Zealand, but it was a -4, losing out against 4 other currencies. But it did tie against the euro and the dollar, so there's that. And it managed, of course, to beat the yen because everybody beat the yen. So that is your currency strength meter. We are now in trending markets across multiple currencies. So I would expect, inertia being what it is, I would expect these to continue for some time. Fundamental announcements, a very light calendar. We have, of course, the ILO unemployment rate on Monday night into Tuesday morning, but I'm not trading that. I haven't traded that in a while. It's simply not moving the market. If that changes, I'll reassess, but they've been very non-events for at least a year now. But that is happening at 2 in the morning, US Eastern time, Tuesday morning. So tomorrow night into Tuesday morning. On Wednesday, and this will be traded live, we have our FOMC minutes coming out at 2 p.m. So we'll be opening up the trading room slightly early that day. And the employment change out of Australia at 8:30 p.m., all these times in US Eastern. So we'll be opening the trading room a little bit later for the evening session, and that will be in your schedules, of course. That's it. Nothing else in the calendar for this week. With that, we move into the charts. As I mentioned before, we have oil breaking out yet again. It's creeping up to $80 a barrel on the West Texas index. And well, that's the highest it has been in at least a year, probably more than a year, but I'm only going back a year in this chart. Euro dollar is struggling, of course, but it is finding some support. I'm expecting a recovery out of the euro, especially as the dollar is struggling right now, but it doesn't seem to be in any rush to happen. Pound dollar, on the other hand, already found support the week before, and this week staged a nice recovery. It was mainly a flat week. We had some movement on Sunday into Monday, and then it just went sideways for the remainder of the week. But still, it is recovering against the dollar. USD/JPY cannot catch a break even with a struggling dollar. The yen managed to, I guess, snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory and ended up in a breakout at the highest it's been in quite a while. Or I should say at the lowest, but that chart goes backwards. So the higher it goes, the less the yen is worth. USD CAD recovering nicely for like the 3rd week in a row. And again, it had a brilliant employment report, labor report, and oil prices, of course, are favoring the Canadian. The Canadian, if you'll recall from the relative strength meter, did a sweep. It beat every other currency out there. USD Swiss, the Swiss also struggling, so more sideways than anything else, but it is finding resistance right where it's at. So it doesn't seem to be dropping more against the dollar. It's just staying put. The Aussie is recovering against the dollar quite nicely, not as nice a recovery as we saw on the pound dollar, for example, but still that's 2 weeks of recovery right there, and it is starting to cross the Ichimoku cloud. Kiwi dollar struggling. The Kiwi is struggling, and at least it's holding on to its own against the dollar. So it's not dropping any further, but it's not gaining either. I suspect that it will gain in the near future. We'll be ready for that. That's it for the dollar pairs. Aussie CAD, we already know that the CAD beat everybody else, so that's what it did against the Australian. And you'll notice that the movement was all on Friday. This was all related to the job report out of Canada. Euro Swiss finding support. It looks like both the euro and the Swiss are dropping, and the Swiss is dropping a little bit faster than the euro is, but it looks like it reached its limit. I'm already looking for a recovery on the part of the Swiss against the euro. Euro pound, the pound nicely beating the euro for like the second or third week, and we are at the final level of support on the chart, waiting for that breakout. We're already trading this on the intermediate, I think, or the long-term, one of them, and we're carrying a nice profit. Euro JPY, this is one of the better movers, and this chart does not include what the market already did on the open today. It already broke through that resistance, so it is moving its way beyond the Ichimoku cloud as we speak, and one of the better movers as the week begins. And we're already in that trade, and we're happily in that trade, hundreds of pips in profit. Euro Canadian breaking out at the bottom. This is one that we did not catch. We can't catch them all. This is not Pokemon, so we missed this one, but we're already looking for the recovery of the euro, which will come eventually. Doesn't matter when. We're patient. We'll catch it when it happens. Pound JPY, the yen dropping against everybody else. We already know that. That includes the pound, and the pound not doing too poorly. So this was a nice mover for the week, and we're also in this trade and at profit, quite a nice profit too. All our yen trades have a high profit right now, except the most recent entries. Aussie JPY, another nice mover. Aussie recovering or trying to, and the yen, of course, collapsing. This one has already moved out of the Ichimoku cloud towards the top. Euro New Zealand, I'm expecting this one to go back to the top of that sideways channel, simply because that's what it has been doing very consistently for the better part of a year. And we'll just, we're already in that trading, waiting for it to fulfill. Pound Canadian, the Canadian, this is the only chart where the pound did not do well. The Canadian just beat the crap out of the pound. Again, mostly happening on Friday after the Canadian labor report, but there you go. It broke through one level of support and went immediately to the next one. Pound Swiss, the Swiss dropping against the pound, but very slowly, more of a sideways market than anything else. But still, it is making its way across that channel, and we're making our way along with it. Pound Aussie, and I shouldn't have said that the CAD was the only one that beat the pound. This one also beat the pound, but again, more sideways than anything else. Really not a big mover. It's simply just below the cloud. I don't know what's going to happen with this one. Both currencies are doing sort of well, so this might go sideways for a while, or there might be a clear winner at some point. That's it for our charts for this session. We'll move on to, if PowerPoint allows me to move on to. There we go. So setups we see in progress for the week of October 10th, the pound pairs, the pound finding good support across multiple crosses. I think the exception being the pound Canadian. Everything else is looking good for the pound right now. And that pound Canadian may come back before all is said and done. USD, the dollar continues erratic, with the market apparently hoping for a miracle, as I said before. That miracle ain't coming, folks. There is nothing good to be said about the dollar right now, other than it is the world's global trading currency. So there's that. There, of course, has to be support for the dollar across the board because so many countries rely on it as a reserve and as their preferred trading currency, but the dollar is not doing well. The Australian dollar is finding support. We saw recoveries on multiple pairs. The Swiss is breaking free, on the other hand, of support and is struggling even against some of the weaker currencies. And of course, the Canadian, one of the better movers into strength last week. Can't count the yen. The yen moved into weakness. The yen moved a lot more than the Canadian, but moved in the opposite direction. Doesn't matter. We trade them in any direction. But the Canadian did quite well and is benefiting from that great labor report that came out and rising oil prices. And last but not least, I do want to apologize for the hiatus I had. I've been remiss in getting these start of the week sessions out. I was sick. So the last month has seen me slammed with both work issues and a bit of a COVID scare. To be honest, I wanted it to be COVID, but all my tests came back negative. So I'm not afraid of COVID. I've been eager to catch it and get the whole thing over with for quite a while. Now, the jury is still out. My test did come back negative, but I don't have 100% confidence in the test either. It certainly was the worst flu I've had in decades. I don't normally get sick. So I'm not sure if that test was a false negative. I strongly suspect it was. I am going to get more tests because the antibodies and crap and all that are detectable. So I'm going to get different tests. Or if I simply manage to be the one lone American to get a non-COVID flu in this year of the plague, a second year of the plague, time will tell. Until then, I remain unmasked and unvaccinatedly yours. Anyway, I'm all but fully recovered. I've got a bit of a cough. I think you've heard me coughing a couple of times during this session. That is the only lasting effect at this point, and it is swiftly going away. So I'm good to go. So again, just apologies that I didn't get these sessions out. Those of you who are subscribers know that I was still trading every day and communicating with people, but I just didn't feel up to doing the weekly starts and all that, mainly because I would have to talk for a very extended period of time. And people, I coughed a couple of times in this session. That's nothing. I was coughing like nonstop. I couldn't get a sentence out without breaking into a coughing fit. So not the best thing when you are trying to record a session for public consumption. So I apologize for that hiatus. We're back. We're happy. We're sort of healthy. We still got a tiny bit of cough. And more importantly, it's been a hell of a profitable couple of weeks these last 2 weeks. We haven't realized the gains yet because the trades are still open, but we've protected the bulk of the profit already, and more profit is piling in. So we're very happy. Hope you guys are happy too, especially those of you using our copy trader or following our trades through our subscriptions. I hope you're getting as much bang for your buck as I am, because man, these past 2 weeks, just beautiful trading opportunities, and they don't look to be over. So anyway, that was that. Thank you for your understanding. Thank you for your good wishes. Thank you for your bad wishes. I don't care. So long as you folks think of me, I'm very, very happy. That's going to be it for us this session. Thank you very much. I am recording this outside the regular time, so I'm not going to ask for questions. I know there's nobody else here. So thank you, and I'll talk to you guys throughout the week. If you're subscribers, for the rest of you, I will talk to you again, I guess, next Sunday. Have a great week. Have a happy trading week. Enjoy yourselves. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.